Oh, what up, what up, what up? Get myself together here, y'all. I forgot this thing was on. Just get some things together here. I'll be ready to start in a minute. We'll just kick it. Just talk about some random. All right. Oh my goodness. Happy Saturday morning. Happy Saturday morning. Don't look too bad out. I'll get this thing going on here. Let me click on this. All right, got that down. Let's see here. Who in here? We got anybody in here? If you in here, say something. Say what's up. Give me a thumb up. I don't know. I just need to see somebody in here. Um, can you hear me? Can you hear me well? Am I sounding good? My voice off? My voice loud enough? I need to turn my mic up or down. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I'm getting sit here chilling. Oh, what I look like? Like I'm froze over here. This one's looking good. I don't like that. Okay. I was behind over here. Yeah, I got all these different screens going. So, all right. Let me let this one catch up. Shrink this one down a little bit so I can see some messages here. What's happening here? How this thing going? All right. I'll be starting in a minute, y'all. I'm gonna start this thing in a second here. Let me get myself together here. All right, there we go. All right. Great morning, great morning, great morning. Who is this? And who watching me here? Let me know who you at. Let me know somebody in here. All right. Let's see here. Click on this. I'm gonna get started in a second here. It'll be a minute, a little quick second here. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Great morning, great morning. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? How y'all doing? Just Wayne and BK, James Schuler here for those who didn't know who I was and who I is. All right. What's this? What we got now? What? What's this? 12 weeks. 12 weeks of school. The 12th week of school. School been going on now. What? 12 weeks. Yeah. Man, listen. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna start out like I always start. Hold on. Let me put this thing up here. Now I ain't gonna do it this time. Awesome. All right. Small leg shake. All right. Listen. Um. First and foremost, let me start by saying this here. Ask these questions like I always ask us. Uh, have you called your school yet? Checked on your child. Have you checked in? Right? Have you talked to the vice principal? Remember the vice principal in the school system, right? The vice principal is usually the one who deals with the most disciplinary type stuff. All right, that's usually who you deal with. Now, the principal is the overseer of all that. But we do know that you need to know that if your child, if the vice principal knows your child by first name off the top of, they should know all the children's name. But if they know your child name right off the bat, like they can like you say, hey, how you doing, Mr. Mrs. Such and such? You know my son or my daughter such? They say, oh yeah, you know they've been into some things now, and you need to ask some more questions. All right, talk to the vice principal. If you want to know how your child is doing as far as goes, grade wise, and all that other stuff, you want to call the guidance counselors. All right, in schools today, there's a lot of counselors, my people. A lot of counselors. I mean, it's crazy how many counselors they got for all types of different things. So you can call the school and be talking to a counselor, and you can be getting answers, but you're not getting the answers that you need to help your child be successful. So what you got to do is you got to call or go up and you have to talk to the child's guidance counselor. Okay, the guidance counselor is supposed to bring all that other stuff together. All right, so you would call and you would talk to the guidance counselor about how my child's grades are doing, what services my child is receiving, what's the schedule of my child for the day look like. Is my child learning or not learning? Is he coming to class on time? Is my child is she coming on the class on time? Check into all that type of stuff with your child's guidance counselor. All right, it's important that you know where you got to go at. Now, if your child has an IEP. All right, if your child has an IEP or a 504 plan or any of those types of things that they got going on in school today, make sure that first and foremost for you, everybody's important, but for you, it's important that you get a binder or something, some type of folder where you can keep all your child's paperwork and stuff together. If your child has an IEP or 504 or any special program, special accommodations going on, because a lot of that stuff is getting watered down today. A lot of that stuff is getting watered down. A lot of that stuff is being used for control mechanisms today. Your child is being maybe having a hard time in a class, focusing or whatever it may be, and they may put them in some specialized service because they don't seem to be learning or seem to be disrupting. The biggest thing, disturbing other children's ability to learn. And that's important. That's important because with that phrase right there, anything is justified. It's very important that you understand that. If you're getting reports that your child is disturbing other children's ability to learn, pump the brakes. Find out what's going on. Check into it. All right. You know what I do? I got to put this thing up here. Let me put this thing up here real fast. Where this thing going? I got to show y'all this thing. I usually show this every day. I got to show this to you because I just realized I got my work shirt on. See, and I'm not at work right now. So let me show you this thing. All right. Show it to you one more time. You see it? All right. That's it. All right. Now, with that being said, all right. Hold on, this thing get caught up here. With that being said, make sure you check with the guidance counselor, the vice principal, and if you're not happy with any of the information you're getting, go to the principal. If your child got an IEP or 504, it's imperative that you talk to the special education coordinator, whoever that is, whatever title that may be going under. All right, whatever title that may go under. Some schools they call it pupil services. Some would call it committee on special education. There's all different types of names that they call this thing. But make sure that whatever you do, you check it with those people and you find it out how your child is doing, how's the plan working, get updates on it. Because with an IEP, right, or for any type of accommodation, that allows the school to deviate from the regular course of action, the course of education, the regular plan, and all that kind of stuff. There's also a deviation from the grading system. All right, there's also a deviation from the grading system, so they can modify the outcomes of what your child is learning based on the need to break down the level, the information that they receive into smaller bits and deliver it in different forms. And sometimes those forms that the education is delivered in, it helps your child show that I can collect information, I can grow, I can learn. But the reality is, it may not be giving them enough information for them to be successful in life. So you want to make sure that balance is there. You want to make sure if your child has any type of combination of IEP 504 or whatever, even if it's just one of those MTSS things, you want to make sure your child, that not just are they doing good grade-wise, but you want to know, is your child actually increasing in abilities and knowledge and understanding of the material, the ability to cognitively actually use the material. You want to make sure this happens, not just, oh, my boy, my girl got a 90. That don't be satisfied with that. That's good, but it's not what you should be happy for. It's not what you should be shooting for. You need to make sure that 90 or that 100 or that 95 or that B or that C or that A plus that your child has is reflective of his abilities, not just of the teacher's material that they're giving out. Because it's important that your child is able to do the work. All right. Because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times Everybody talk about when I see this on Facebook recently. Well, that's what I'm gonna talk about now for a little while. Education, right? I see this on social media, Facebook, on Twitter, Snapchat, everything. I see it all over the place, and it's not just in one state or one city. It's all over the place. All right. I see people complaining and rallying and saying we need to be involved with the school boards, we need to be involved with this, and we need to be involved with that. But just this morning, I seen people talking about furries again. All right. Now listen. Okay, I'm not getting into that, but let's keep it official, y'all. Let's keep it official. All that stuff may be important, but what's more important is how your child is doing actually with the work. Is your child get to the point where it can actually do things in life? Can it do these things? Because reality is this: a lot of children is not in class all day. They're not in the whole class. No, they may be in a counseling session with somebody. They may be in a one-on-one meeting with somebody. They may be in the office because they got in a little trouble, or they may just be walking the halls because they need what they call a break. All right. Check into this now. I'm dead serious. Check into it. Make sure you talk to your school to find out what is going on. What actually is your child doing? Don't just be one of those people that beef about the books in the library, but you don't go to the library. Don't be one of those people that beef about your child learning about how homosexuals or LGBTQ plus and all that, how they learn or how they behave or whatever. Don't be so just one of the parents that's just concerned about that. All right. But you don't check into exactly, okay, what material is my child actually learning and they're able to use this information in society? Is my child going to be somebody in the future that I'm going to be able to be proud of? Or is it going to be somebody I'm going to have to be dependent that's going to be dependent on me for the rest of their days? Especially if your child has some type of special education accommodation. It's important that you get involved with that. Look at that 90, look at that 80, look at that 100, and say, okay, what does this 100, what did you do to get this 100? Right? Not just, I answered some questions. I read a thing and I answered the question. Okay, what was the thing you read? Tell your child to give you the paper that the teacher gave them, and you look at it yourself. If you want to be concerned about the books, you want to be concerned about the curriculum, you want to be concerned about who's making what money off of the surveys and what they're doing with the data. Okay, cool. But start at the very basic. Start with the easiest thing you can do. Look at the work that's actually in your face. Look at the work that's actually in your face. Make sure your child is doing material that they can be successful off of. All right. Make sure your child is actually understanding the material that they got 100 on. Ask your child some questions about this. Hey, okay, I see you got this. I see you got this thing you got from school here today. Okay, let's sit down. Let's talk about this. What does this mountain mean? What is, ask some questions. All right. Don't just be one of those parents that sit back and say, we got to go to school board and we got to beef about this. And I can't believe that's going on. And I can't believe this going on. In the meantime, in between time, you ain't even took 2 seconds to look at the paper that your child has brought home. Know what you're telling your child when you do that? Be careful. Be careful. Because you're telling your child, it's okay to bitch about stuff and never check on it. You're also telling your child that I'm going to complain and I'm going to come to school and I'm going to raise sand and I'm going to do this, but I'm never going to check you. I'm never going to make sure you're doing actually what I think you're doing. That's a problem within itself. All right. So now, listen, make sure you're doing that. Like I said, make sure if child got some type of accommodation, make sure you got a binder and you saving that material. Don't take those letters and just toss them to the side. Because I'm telling you, if your child ever got into some trouble or something ever happened where you had to go to a meeting or whatever, I'm telling you firsthand, I know this for a fact. All those letters that they sent to you, they're going to have them there. And you just toss them away. They're going to be looking at stuff. You know what's the worst feeling in the world? Is to know, actually, I'm going to battle with this family. We're going to go help this child out right now. And we get in front of the school, get in front of people, and the parents haven't even opened the letter that the school sent home. So we getting ready to battle, and we realized right then that we didn't even have to be here. We didn't even have to be at this level. All you had to do was open the dang gone envelope and read what was inside of it. But we get frustrated. I get it. We can get frustrated. Schools can be frustrating. Educating our children can be frustrating. Understanding and navigating life can be frustrating. But man, don't be one of those people that just sit back and beef about stuff and then you don't even know what's going on yourself with your own, because you're giving your child a very, 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 very dangerous message. All right, now that's that part. Now, again, that's my part with the IEP and all that. Make sure you're talking to the guidance counselor if you want to know about all these other things that's going on. If you're not sure, talk to the guidance counselor. If you want to know about behaviors and all that, talk to the vice principal. If you're not getting any place with them, schedule a meeting with the principal. And if you're not getting where you want, with the answer you need from the principal, then you go to the superintendent. They call it a chain of command. Follow it. Follow that chain of command, and I guarantee you, when you get to the top, the superintendent's going to stop saying, you're going to be able to stop saying that the superintendent said to you, "I can't help you. I'll look into that." Well, they got to do that because they got to. If you haven't went through the steps, if you haven't followed the chain of command, the superintendent just can't go, "Okay, I'm going to overturn this." They can't. They got to go back down the chain of command that you didn't go through and find out what happened. And then they can talk about it. 9 times out of 10, by that time, you done got all frustrated and pissed off and mad and don't nothing happen. So pay attention. Open the envelopes up. Make sure you talk to all the people that are necessary. Start with the guidance counselor. Ask the guidance counselor specific questions. All right. So listen, does my child receive any services from an outside agency? Now they're going to tell you, maybe there's a release that's got to be signed, or we got to look into it. No, they can tell you they can't tell you they may not be able to tell you what the service is doing, but they have an obligation to tell you what's going on with your child in school. All right. Now there's some restrictions on that. I'm not saying that this is all inclusive what I'm saying here, but there is a right that you have to know what the people who you entrust to deal with your child, because school nexus is this. There's a thing called school nexus in law. It's where it describes who has authority right now, who's responsible. And when you put your child, the morning time you get your child up, or your child gets up or whatever for school, and they walk out the door to go to school, either they're walkers to school or they'll ride a bus. But when they leave your house to go to school, from that point until they return back to your home, they're the school's responsibility. That's called the school nexus. That's why your kid can get in trouble in school for fighting on the way home to school, on the way to school from home, on the way from school to home. That's why your child can go from school to the community center and then get into some trouble at the community center and then go back to school and then get suspended from school and get in trouble at school because they haven't been home yet, so they're still the school's responsibility, the school nexus. So you got to understand that. So while the school has authority or the responsibility of your child, they also have a responsibility to let you know what's going on. Now, the individual agencies, before they can say anything to you, there may be some releases that's got to be signed. All right, but you have a right to know these things. Then you call a guidance counselor and you say, what outside services is my child receiving? That means what agency that comes into the school that is not paid that's not staffed by school employees. It's staffed by people outside of school. Maybe youth advocate programs, maybe a community school, maybe ARC, maybe it's a whole litany of people that come into schools. But you can find out what services your child gets. And then from that point on, you can go to find out from those services what they're doing. You can start that process of talking to them. But that's how to get this information, you start with the guidance counselor. All right. All these other people can help you, but whose job it is the guidance counselor. That's why they call them guidance counselor. Okay, guidance. They don't make these things too complicated. These names are really descriptive. It tells us what they do. Guidance, they guide you, and they're a counselor to help you work through these things, to talk to you through these things, and understand what you need. All right, so make sure you do that. There's all types of services. There's the multi-tiered system of supports. Those are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 things. Tier 1 being what every child gets, tier 2 being what a small group of children get, and tier 3 being the one where the smallest group of kids get. And that's usually when they got a lot of behaviors, like learning disabilities, but they don't reach the level of IEP. So check into that. Make sure you know what is going on with your child when they bring that grade home. Say, hey, I got an A, Mom. Before you go and buy your child a new iPhone for getting an A, find out what that A consists of. because you may be like, whoa, that ain't what I thought you was doing. So check into it, all right? It may be a hyperlay or A. It's an A, but it's an A because your child's the expectation that the school has of your child to be able to do what everybody else does is so low that they let them get away with the bare minimum of doing the work. They say, oh, did he do any work? Yes. Did he answer the question? Yes. Let's make sure the questions are easy enough for him to answer. Make sure the questions are easy enough for her to answer. And so we can show that they're able to follow. And there's different reasons. There's a whole lot of different reasons, not just what I just said. Now, there's many different ones. That's just one example of what I just gave. All right, and I didn't give it in full degree. So there's a lot more that goes with that. But what I'm giving you all now is a starting point. Some people don't even have that starting point of what they should be doing, how they should be dealing with the school. So a lot of people get really confused, and it's scary because look, here's what happened. I don't see it, and I'm like, oh, how do we fix this problem? If you're having an issue with your child, you got to work, you got this going on, your child's having some issues at school, you're constantly getting calls from the school, you're getting emails, you get that famous parent square or whatever the school tool or whatever it is your school uses, and you're getting this information, and you're like, holy crap, how do I fix this? And then you say, okay, the logical thing was let's get together because I'm getting so many calls from so many different people, so many emails from so many different people, so many text messages from so many people about what my child was doing in school. So they schedule a meeting. Now here's your problem. You take off from work, do what you got to do. You get your transportation together. You make sure everything is set up, and you go to the school for the meeting. And man, oh man, there's 10, 15 people in the room waiting for you. And they all got negatives topped with a positive. Your child's doing this. Everybody in the room got something negative about what your child do, but they always say, but he or she always doing this good. Okay, that's the icing. Let's don't give them all the negative. Let's make sure we give them some good stuff. That's the acting part. Because the real issue is all the problems that they have. And a lot of times the problems are broken down into people say, listen, we're not going to give you, we're not going to allow one person to give 10 issues, and then another will give you 5 issues, then another will give you 6 issues, then another will give you 4 issues. No, we're going to spread it out. We're going to get as many supports from as many people in the room as possible, and then we'll have them explain. You can have a whole picture look of what's going on with your child. And that is so overwhelming. I've seen parents that are struggling with their own comprehension and their own issues. They got issues at home. They got issues in the community, trying to focus on work. And they only got an hour out because their boss said, listen, you took too many time out. We're tired of you always got to stop because something going on with your child, your kid or whatever. And that's not our fault. So they're like, listen, we've been tolerant of it, but now you can't be doing it. So you only got 1 hour out. And you don't went in the room. You thought you had something to say, but now you don't went in and you got all these people there. You don't know what to say. So the best thing for you to do is talk to the counselor and find out what services your child is getting, and then go to them when you get an opportunity, to those outside services. All right, those outside agencies giving your child a service. Go to them. All right, the other thing you got to do, you got to ask the guidance counselor also, what in-house services is my child receiving? Now, you found out what outside services your child is receiving. Those are agencies that come into the school, like youth advocate programs, like community schools programs, like Wayne ARC programs, like NIRO, Wayne Behavioral Health, like Wayne Behavioral Health programs, and so forth. All right, they're all coming into the school. Those are outside agencies. Now, in-house services are like extra counseling services that's provided by a school psychiatrist or a support room that's provided by a school counselor or some sort, or a support aide, or somebody who gets a paycheck and a pension and all of that stuff from the school. Those are in-house services. And there's a lot of in-house services also. So find out what in-house services your child is getting, as well as what outside services your child is getting. And you find this out from the guidance counselor. All right, ask them to give them to you. If you want to know what type of services are available, ask them to give you the list. So you need a list. You want the list of services, available services. All right. You want a list of available services for your child. Check into that. Ask them. They'll tell you. They can give it to you. They got it. All right. There now, school. So it's a mouthful. There's a lot going on there because our children, a lot of times, I believe in talking to young people. A lot of young people I don't think they get where a lot of stuff that the parents are trying to do. I don't think they get it. I don't think they understand what a lot of parents are saying. I really don't. I think a lot of times I think the young people are really a little bit confused as to why parents feel the way they feel. And I think it's causing a confusion amongst it's called not confused, causing a problem within the education system. Causing a problem within the education system. All right. I think it's very important that we slow down, we take a really good look and talk to our young people and talk to our guidance counselors and look at what's going on and put that all together and then come to a conclusion as to what is going on with your child and what does your child need in school. And then work on getting it and stop with all the let's just go and join somebody's political movement and argue about should this be in school or should this not be in school? Should teachers be aware of this type of stuff or should they be not doing it? That's gonna if you want to do that on your dime, that's your business. But let's focus on the things that we can do something about in the building. Let's be a little bit more aware and conscious. And our children will perform different because they're going to see, oh, wow, mom or dad, grandma, uncle, whoever, they're concerned about what's going on in school. They're concerned about what's happening in the place that I spend most of my time. Because when you really stop and think about it, those of you who at work, those of us who got jobs and all that, you really don't spend a lot of time with your child. You really don't, because you got to work and they got to go to school. And so you need to make sure you're taking time out to find out what's going on in those places where your child is spending most of their time at, and then also ask why. The most important question you can ask is why, y'all. All right, now we'll leave school alone for a minute. We'll go to another big thing that's happening. What a swing I'm finna make, y'all. What a swing. This is a swing. You ready? Hold on. We have an election coming up. There's an election coming up. Holy crap. Oh. Who is there anybody else out there just that feel just like me about this election? Like, holy crap, what the heck is gonna happen? I mean, it's like, on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, I understand. But neither hand do I agree 100% with. Both. I don't care if you're blue or you're freaking or red. I don't care if you're Republican or if you're Democrat. Yeah. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Some stuff I do, some stuff I don't. I don't get it. It seems like I'm afraid that, well, I'm not committing any crime. I'm not doing anything wrong. I know a lot. I come from a subculture and a group of people who have done a lot of wrong, and sometimes they're still doing wrong. All right. Um, I'm afraid that if the wrong people get in power, they're just gonna start locking people up, and then you're gonna start later on. We're gonna start talking about, well, the system did this to us. Well, I don't know. I'm confused because we all know that when we go back and we look at the why we're just talking about school, one of the biggest hindrances, one of the biggest problems is absent fathers. And why a lot of fathers absent? It's many different reasons. And there's many different things that many different people or persons or entities that we can blame as to why they're absent. But the fact remains, a lot of fathers were absent because they went to jail, they went to prison, and there's a lot of things that happen. A lot of things that happen. A lot of people went to prison because of their own behavior, their own actions, their own everything, and they got out and they screwed up and they went back and because of their own actions, their own beliefs, their own behaviors. But at the same time, there's also these other elements that's got to be looked at. There's these other little elements, little things. When you live in a stressful life, man, a little thing is huge. I don't know if you ever been. I don't know if y'all out there, or if you hear me, you click and listen. I talked to a lot of people out there. A lot of people say, "Yo, I watch your show. I see what you said. I agree with what you said." Click on the dang old thing, then, so I know you was there. Click on it. Click. You know, so I know you was there. Be bold. You get on other pages and argue. let me know you. Don't just tell me when you see me, yo, I watched your show. All right, let me know you was here. All right, now, as I'm saying though, with our political situation, yeah, I'm going. I gotta build back up to where I was just saying. All right, with our political situation right now, I don't know which side I should be listening to. I get confused just like everybody else get confused, and I pay attention to it all the time. Man, I'm involved with the process. All right, y'all. I'm involved heavily in the process of helping make decisions for what should be happening, not only with our young people, but in the adult world too. And I sit back and I look and I'm like, pretty soon, if people have their way, we're gonna have more people, more fathers, and more mothers incarcerated again in a system that's going to cost us way more money than it cost us before the run. Because remember, in order for everybody to talking about, we're gonna get rid of bail reform. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna fight crime with this. We're gonna fight crime with that. I'm gonna put money into this. I'm gonna put money into that. Hold on now. Hold on. Let's put that in proper perspective, okay? Let's just keep it on New York State. All right. Over the last 5 to 10 years, all right, New York State has went from having 80 some thousand people in prison down to about, I think it's like 40 some thousand now. Okay, they went from having I think it was 78 facilities around New York State down to like 40 something prisons. I think what is it? How many? I think like 40 something across the state now. They significantly downsized everything. The staffing is downsized. I went into I do programs. I go into Wayne County Jail, all right, and I talk to people that go to other jails, and I talk to people that come in also, and they're so short in in schools and teaching situations where now they have to take the teachers that come into the jail to do the GED programs, and they got to spread them out. And the populations of the jails are so small that a lot of the staff has taken other jobs, moved on, and so forth. So you think that police forces are having a hard time keeping officers on the road? Imagine what it's like to keep officers in the jails. So when you talk about when they say we're gonna change this law, we're gonna change that law, they're not telling you the whole story, y'all. Because there's a whole lot of infrastructure that's got to be put in place again in order for them to just do what they're saying they're gonna do. They just can't. Oh, we're gonna go back to doing. What do you mean, Bill? How are you gonna get rid of the bail reform program? And what are you gonna put in this place? Are you gonna put in something that puts that now where people are no longer gonna be innocent until proven guilty? I can put something in when we look at a system that says, you know what, somebody said you did something, we're gonna treat you like you did it until we prove you didn't. We're going to revamp the whole United States constitutional criminal justice system that's been constitutionally protected. You're going to say no longer are you innocent until proven guilty. We're going to come up with a safe risk management skill thing, and we're going to assume that you are guilty, and we're going to take away your liberties that's been guaranteed to you by the Constitution of the United States of America. I'll call you back, Mike. I'm on the phone. I'm on my live now. So think about this, my dudes. Think about this, my peoples. Just think about this. All these constitutional protections in place so that we can have fair systems. Make sure. All right, make sure my thing is live. Everybody can see me here because I don't want to. Because sometimes I get on this and I'm thinking that it's public and that it ain't public. But anyhow, like I was just saying, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. We got to really, really, really understand. We got to really understand that first and foremost. First off, let me pause for a second. All right, let me take a pause for this. Let me back up a little bit here. Let me back up. All right. There are crime generative factors. There are things that happen to make crime happen. Right. One of the things that happen that people don't want to look at is called the risk factor. All right. Now, there's many different risk factors. There's a systematic risk factor where they come in, they determine how dangerous you may be to society by a bunch of asking a bunch of questions and looking at a bunch of history, things that affect you, and so forth and so on. A bunch of things that go on in the community and all that kind of stuff that's available to you. And they come up with what type of a risk it may be that you may, what type of risk you may be to reoffend. But that's not the risk factor I'm talking about. The risk factor I'm talking about is when on a criminal, what was called a criminal subculture, the group of people who believe that I got to commit crimes. There's a culture out there in society. You know what? This is how we got to live. This is what we got to do. We handle our business amongst ourselves. Something pop up, we pop back, and we deal with ourselves. I'm not calling the police. I'm not doing this. I'm not. There's a subculture out there that believes these things. Within that subculture, right? Within that subculture, there's an understanding. There's a real simple understanding. All right, real simple understanding. And that's that the more dangerous it is, the more time I can get for doing this, the more serious I'm going to respond to what you do to me. The more serious I'm going to take how you violate what we call violate. All right, the drugs that that a person may sell has gotten a whole lot more valuable because the risk associated with it, we dealing on the streets. Is it fair? Does it make sense? I'm not even getting to that part about it. But is it real? Yes. Yes, it is real. You can't deny that part. So when you start talking about enhancing laws because we're going to take away, that's going to make people be less violent, I need you to understand it may have a negative effect. It may have a negative effect. It may increase it because you're not addressing the root cause, the generative factors, the things that are actually causing people to feel like my only way of dealing with this situation is I bust you in the face with a 22 slug or 44 slug or a 12 gauge slug. You understand? Until we address the reason underlying that, why people think that way, why people believe that way, you can implement what you want to implement. All you're going to do is violate people's constitutional rights. If you're okay with violate people's constitutional rights, then say that. Say that I just don't want my rights to violate it, but I'm willing to violate yours. Because when you listen to what's going on in the politicians today, they're talking about punishing people who have not been convicted of a crime. All right? Because bail has never been a tool to have anything to do with innocence or guilt. It has always been a tool that has been put in place to determine, will you return to court? Now, some people, and the reason they make some changes to it in the beginning, which do we agree with the changes or not agree with the changes, that's irrelevant here. What's relevant is, let's talk about what happened and why. What they were doing at one point in time, they were putting bail on people so high, and they knew that if it was 20 times, 40 times, 60 times lower, they still wouldn't have got out. But they put bail so high for the purpose of keeping people in jail. So what was end up happening was sneaking. Our system was sneakingly, yes, I just made up that word, sneakingly. Our system was sneakingly depriving people of constitutional rights. It was treating you like you was guilty even before you was proven. When the fact is, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And you got to be proven guilty beyond a shadow of doubt. Not, I mean, listen now, okay, understand what that means. You have to be proven guilty beyond the shadow of the doubt, not the doubt itself. That ain't even the doubt that they're worried about. The shadow that the doubt casts can't even exist. Understand that. You must be guilty beyond even the shadow that the doubt produces. So it ain't even the doubt that they got to have. If they got doubt, you go home. But if it has a shadow, if the doubt casts a shadow, if you can just see, you know what? That looks like it's doubt around that corner. Go home. That's the way our Constitution is set up. That's the way this Constitution is set up. Unfortunately, the way people run it, the way people use our system, is personal to them. It's personal to them. We do a show on Wednesday nights called Corner Talk. And we had brothers Jalil and a few brothers on there a couple weeks ago, and we was talking about what that looks like. All right. You really got, you go back and watch the show. It's still up there. It's called Corner Talk. But check it, man. All this talk of we need to change laws because this started people to killing people. That started people to killing people. That's bullshit. And y'all all know that is. What's happened is we're getting more. Is it getting bad? Yes, because you see it all damn day, every day, all the time. You see it. Have you ever seen somebody though commit an act of crime in front of you? Yes, some of y'all have. How? But is it widespread where everybody who got a complaint, who's got to think they can say, "Yo, I gotta try to get my pistol because if I walk down the streets of Newark, or if I walk down the streets of Sodas, or if I walk down the streets of Marion, I may have to shoot somebody because they may try to rob me or take something." Is it gotten that bad? I mean, if you live over on Rosewood Terrace, or if you live over on Scioto Street, or if you living on Sarah McCree Way in Rochester, something like that, any of those streets like that, everybody on there don't feel they need a gun. Everybody feels that some things need to change, like either up there or down there or over there in that house right there. But they don't. They're not. It's not like, yo, the whole city has just lost its damn mind. There is some issues, but it's not as big. What's happened is not as big as it's bigger than it's ever been. All right, because I remember, like I said, for a long time now, I've been doing this for like 11 years now, 11, 12 years. And I've been meeting with people all over the state about issues pertaining to crime and crime reduction and all that kind of stuff for a long time with juveniles and adults. And a lot of y'all know that Chuck talked to young man said they've been to jail in Wayne County. You know, they don't ran into me in the jail coming in and do groups in there. All right, so I've been doing this for quite a while. There's some cats that's now 20 and 30 right now, 20 in their 20s and late 20s and early 30s that was coming to my programs in the jail. All right. So, and I've been doing this for a while, and I've talked to a lot of people. And understand this. There has not ever been a time when we said, whew, I'm so glad crime ain't rising. Whew. I don't remember the time we had a meeting, we said, whew, I'm so glad that the drug dealing has leveled off. I don't remember those conversations. I don't remember the time when they said, man, whew, I'm so glad that violent crime is going down. I don't remember those times. All I remember is them saying over and over and over and over again, going way back as far as I can remember, that, man, we got to do something about this crime. In fact, even in the 80s, hip hop groups was putting out with KRS-Ones and all these different people that was coming together, and they was making songs that called one particular song that was very, very, very famous. With the title was called "Stop the Violence." And they got us believing right now that this is something brand new, that they only people that can fix it is the Republicans. Did y'all forget about George Pataki? Did y'all forget about George Bush? Did y'all forget about Reaganomics? I mean, we can go. You forget about Gerald. We can go on and on and on and on. I mean, just like there was a Bill Clinton, and just like there was Obama did some stuff that people are happy with. Just like it goes back Carter. We can go way back. We can go all through the history of America. Politics has been a problem between the Democrats and the Republicans. They've been beefing ever since then. And here we are today. The Republicans are saying we need to do this, and the Democrats, what are they saying? What are they saying? All the violence that's going on, they say, that we're seeing, all the stuff that we're seeing, what are the Democrats saying? We need to protect reproductive rights. Correct. But we don't need to use it as a soundboard. Let's talk about what they're talking about over there. Let's clarify that shit. Because they're saying that you guys put these laws in place that create these problems. So now, instead of you addressing what they're saying you did, while promoting what you're trying to continue to do, and point out and ask the question, what are they planning to do? What do? Ignore the whole thing. Don't even talk about it. Don't even talk about it. And if you do, it's only for a couple seconds. Then you go talk about reproductive rights. Instead of talking about the education system and how the education system has improved and what we're going to continue to do to improve it, what do you talk about? Reproductive rights. Should we protect? Yes, I'm for you. I support you on that one. But there's more. There's more to talk about than that. Y'all are sounding just like the Democrats are sounding just like the Republicans. Got one issue over here and one issue over here, and y'all trying to ram both of those down our throat. This is Coffee Talk, y'all. I'm James Schuler. I'm having coffee. I have some coffee with me. This was on my mind while I drank my coffee. I'm just rambling today, y'all. And I don't know how long I'm gonna ramble. I may go on for a little while. You may pop out and come back and see me still rambling. But that's what's happening because this thing is crazy. Let's look at the vote again. Let's talk about this vote. That's what we're talking about now. We don't talk about school. Let's talk about the vote. Who should you vote for? Why should you vote Republican? Because they say they're gonna make you safer? Bullshit. Even listen, we can go so far as the village of Newark. I remember some kids killed some other kids in Perkins Park when the guy who's running for mayor now was a chief. Everybody, man, listen, we could all go around. We can go round the circle, round the circle, round the circle. We're gonna find out that crime has been around for a long time, and it's continuing to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And there's no initiative that's making it better. So you can attack bail reform, and you can go. We can say we're gonna go do something different with it. Okay, fine. For me personally, it don't affect me because I ain't committing no crimes. It affects me on the level I got children, I got family members, I got friends, I got associates who may get into find themselves in a situation one day, and that bothers me. But personally, on my square, on my few acres that I live on, I'm not really worried about it because I'm not out there doing those type of things no more. But it doesn't mean I'm that disconnected. That doesn't mean I'm that disconnected where I can sit back and say, well, go do what y'all want to do. I've read, I read, I study, I invest, I check into things, I discuss things with people, I get involved, all right? Not to say, oh, look at me. I'm not saying, oh, look at me. But I'm saying, while I'm doing this, I have not seen these problems, these fears that they keep stoking us with. Yes, there's crime. Yes, listen, some heinous shit been happening. But when Ted Bundy was a real serious situation. We've had issues in the Catholic Church. We've had issues all over the place. It's been going on for a long time. I remember in Rochester a long time ago when the police used to just jump out on you and beat you up and take your stuff on the street. And then I remember one time in the city of Rochester, a police officer went to jail for taking dope off the streets and was putting it back out on the streets on the other hand. I mean, this thing has been happening for a long time. It ain't just started, y'all. So what we got to do in order to fix these, if we really want to do something about it, we really need to, instead of listening to the bullshit and continue to be fed the line of stuff, I'm gonna make a statement. This is my position. This is James Schuler's position. Okay? Don't vote party lines. Get the hell out of here. Don't vote all blue. Don't vote all red. Vote to the person who makes the most sense, so who you think will be able to get something done. All right? Because that's what's got us all messed up. Everybody's voting down their lines. There ain't nothing fixed them, so they don't have to work together. They don't have to come together to fix nothing. In Wayne County, we ain't gonna never get no place. Because there's a whole segment of people who not even heard. They don't have nobody to speak for them. The whole of Wayne County is run by the Republicans. And then you got the Democrats who are saying the Republicans ain't gonna do nothing. Well, so they never sit down and talk. So we are relying upon the state to say what's got to happen. We're relying on the state to issue funds in forms of grants, in forms of this, in forms of that, and then say, here's an initiative that I need you to do. And then somebody say, hey, you know what? If we get this initiative, we can do this and we can do that. And when we can do this initiative. You feel, come on. Let's work on that now. When this election is coming up, if you're not planning on getting out to vote, please do. Please do. Please get out there and vote. Go. I don't care what side you vote for, but let's go vote. Because you're going to have something to say about what happened. So don't make yourself look stupid and sit here and talk about what happened and then you're not trying to do nothing about it. All right, get out there and vote. That's my piece on that. Vote. Don't vote party lines. Vote what makes sense. Because I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't have. I'm part of the 27,000 something people in Wayne County. Yes, y'all heard me right. 20. I have the list on my drive with names and addresses. Yes, all you do is go down to the board of elections and say, "Hey, I need a list of Democrats, a list of Republicans, and a list of non-party affiliates." And they'll say, "Know what they're gonna say to you? How do you want it, Mister, Mrs.? Do you want it paper or do you want it sent to you on electronic drive, electronically?" Then they're going, if you say electronically, they're going to say, "How do you want it sent? Do you want it to be so you can manipulate it, meaning you can change the orders of it and look through it, or do you want it on a PDF so it's hard copied and that's what it is? What it is." What they're not going to say is, "I can't give you that." Nope. Go right down to the board of elections, right there in lines, right down by the sheriff department, go on down the hall and say, "Hey, I want a list of the," yeah, and they'll give it to you. I have it, and it has names and addresses. They give it to you freely. There's no cost for it. It's free information, public information. It's our stuff. Go get it. Check into it, y'all. And I fall into the category with 27,000 other Wayne County citizens. No party affiliate. So I'm not going to vote Republican, or nor am I going to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote to who makes sense. All right. So I'm paying attention to what you say. I'm paying attention to what you don't say. I'm paying attention to what you supported. I'm paying attention to what you didn't support. And I'm voting based on that. All right, y'all. So that being said, get up and go vote this week. Get your ass out. Go vote, please. All right. And as far as school goes, listen, call your school, talk to your people, check in on your children, man. Check in on your children. Check in on your children. Please check in on your children, because some of us got some kids who are really, 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 really being allowed to go astray. Yes, I said that. Some of us have children who are being allowed to go astray, and it is the parents' fault by God. Though for those of us who believe, by God, it is your fault if you allow anyone, including your child or including other adults, you allow them to let your child go astray. All right. If you think just because your boy can throw a basketball or catch a football, make a touchdown, score a basket, then that's all they need, you need to understand a little bit more about the sport. You need to talk. You need to pick up a book, go on YouTube, watch the video about how scouting happened, how people get on the NBA team. Actually, grab your Alexa pill, or grab your Alexa thing, and ask Alexa, "Hey Alexa, ask your Google Doc. Hey Google," Alexa said, "How many people can play in the NFL? How many people are in the whole NBA that play basketball?" And then ask how many high school students there are trying to go. Ask how many college students there are. And ask how many. Then reach out and find some scouts and find out what the scouts look for. Check before you selling this dream to your child. You try, or you let some man that you done met, or some woman that you done met, who had a career who was trying to get a career in basketball, football, or some sport. Before you let them get in your life and live vicariously through your child. Yeah, live back. Yeah, vicariously. That's a word for those who don't know, meaning that I had my opportunity. I wanted to be the next Michael Jordan. And I worked really hard, but I got almost to the point and I blew my knee out, or I blew my leg out, or my ankle twisted, or my elbow went, or I jammed my finger so I can't flex like I used to. And that took my career away. But I'm still good. I still had that passion. So I see something, I see the opportunity in your child. I see me in your child. I see the opportunity in your child to help your child get to where I want to be at. So I can say, "Hey, come on, let me do it." I'm living vicariously. I'm not really pushing your child to follow its dream. I'm pushing your child to continue my dream. I'm living vicariously to your child. And that ain't helping you not one bit. Because now your child gonna see somebody else that's more important than you. And the only way you're gonna be important is if you make the ability for it to be with that individual who's living vicariously, you make it possible. Look here now, y'all. I'm gonna leave with this because it's almost 11:30. I've been on this almost an hour now. I'm gonna be on more often. I'm gonna pop in more often throughout the course of the days. I got little things that be happening throughout the course of the day I be wanting to talk about. And I gotta stop beating my wife up with it because she wants to kill me. I'll be talking to her about it sometime, and I'll be getting all passionate, and she was like looking at me like, I ain't do that shit to you. I get it. So I'm gonna start coming over here and get to y'all more. Yep. All right. Until next time. This was Coffee Talk. I'm James Schuler. Oh, wait. Again, because I got this shirt on, I gotta do this right here. Look at this. All right. Y'all good? Peace.